Hello everybody, welcome to Nostalgia Goggles. We're nearing the end. One more video, I think, technically, after this. There's more than one video after this. There's just one more within this, review Mario-centric kind of thing. I'm going to do a half-year recap because, with the way... We'll talk about it near the end. Anyways, this is one of the last episodes, thankfully. And, I feel like this video is a weird one because I'm kind of running out of stuff to do because I've talked about Mario a lot on this channel and kind of shot myself in the foot. So I feel like it's about time that we talk about one of the last 3D games, Mario 3D World. I've kind of softly talked about this game in a lot of the Mario 3D games, and I also talked about the game that came before this one, actually. So I think it's just about time that we finally talk about it and ask the question, are these worth playing? And which one is? Well, let's find out. So the story of Mario 3D World is rather simple because Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad are minding their own business watching fireworks and eventually find a weird pipe. Luigi and Mario fix the pipe and a Sprixie comes out, which is the fairies from their own kingdom. One of them comes out for help and Bowser captures them, and that makes Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad jump into action to help the Sprixies out. I think Bowser just wants land, man. I think that's just really what it is. I think Bowser just likes taking over land, or he wants more land. Which is funny because I believe he has his own land, so it's like he should just be happy with what he's got, but who knows, I don't know. Anyways, when it gets right down to it, Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad have to go save the Sprixie Kingdom, and that's really the whole story of the game. Bowser decided to take over another kingdom, surprise, surprise. One of the things that I've been noting throughout this whole series is Bowser just likes taking over kingdoms, right? That's just what he likes to do. The story itself doesn't really matter. It could have just been a letter to another kingdom. They don't even have to get clever. And then there's Bowser's Fury. To simplify this one as much as I can, Bowser Jr. is trying to ask Mario for help because Bowser has been imprisoned, trapped, or whatever into this goo. It really feels like they could have went more narratively with this one, but they didn't. It's just Bowser's trapped and now it's Mario's job to help him, and that's really the whole narrative. All in all, I think that this game works right. The story doesn't really need to matter. It's a Mario game. You just need to know that Bowser has captured or something or taken over some land, and that's all you really need to know, and that's really what this game did. Bowser's Fury got a little special and did something different, but hey, you know, whatever, who cares? It's interesting that they did it. With that being said, let's move on to the gameplay. The gameplay of Super Mario 3D World is realistically the concepts of Super Mario 3D Land, which is the idea of putting classic Mario into a 3D space where instead of going with life bars, you have to deal with getting hit and shrinking and yada yada. I've talked about this before in Super Mario 3D Land, but I don't know how much of an overlap there is between the people that watched my content, especially since that was so long ago, so that's why I'm recapping it. It definitely follows suit, but also feels bigger, of course, because one is on a 3DS and the other one is on a console, so of course they're able to do more things. And I think that this is a really great expansion, especially since the other one was more of a lonely game where you only can play by yourself. This one allows you to play with your friends, and this is one of the best multiplayer Mario experiences you can have, because it definitely feels better to have multiple people in a 3D space instead of it just being a 2D game. I love Wonder, and I also love New Super Mario, but those games definitely can become frustrating, especially since you can harm your players. You can do that in this one as well, but I feel like this is just a better use of the multiplayer, and I think that it's a really awesome game to have multiplayer allowed. I also just think that this is an amazing 3D game. Learning from classic 3D games and also having the sensibilities of a 2D Mario game, it just all together comes into this really, really great amalgamation of what can be done with the 3D space. Now, this game isn't the only one, mind you. There's also Bowser's Fury, which is a very interesting concept, one that also makes me question on where it's going to go. It's a nice little add-on, but it feels like it's a demo for something later, and I think that that'd be a really cool way to do it because it's 3D World in a completely open space. Mario 3D World in general is restricted in its sense of it being level to level, where this one is just one big level that unlocks over time. And I think maybe that might be what they're toying with. Who knows, that might be where the new 3D Mario goes, or we might just get another 64 or Odyssey Endeavor, which is not a problem, mind you, or Galaxy, but I think that if they're going to continue, Bowser's Fury is the way to go with this one because the unlocking world is a really cool concept, and I just really like how they were able to play with this 3D world concept. Is it worth it altogether? We'll see, but I think that it's really cool to have this. This was one of the best games on the Wii U, let's be honest. It was this and Mario Kart, and I would say Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I played that on the Switch. I own it for the Wii U, but like not the preferred version. So with that being said, this game definitely feels like it's the greatest. Like this was one of those games that I loved playing with my wife, and I like playing with my child now. It's a game that just really feels really good, and I hope that they continue with this because the power-ups in this game feel great as well. The levels design itself feels great. The special zones, which is something that I absolutely love in Mario and I wish they do more of, which they have been, but the special zones are great here too, allowing you to unlock a secret character, which will probably be in the footage. And all in all, this game was just a fun, non-stop adventure. I just love being in a 3D space, and I like how it's not just another Mario Odyssey or another Mario 64 type game. It's really cool to see this kind of concept exist, and I'd love to see more from it. With that being said, though, I kind of just gave the goods, but I think all in all, the gameplay itself is phenomenal. With that being said, let's talk about the presentation. When it gets right down to it, the presentation of this game is definitely in its own place. Mario 3D Land and World have their own identity, being very much what you would expect from Mario, but being vastly different, kind of evolving and changing what Mario is ever so slightly, because it does add new villains and new characters, which I'm talking about both games in general, and I think that it does a really good job at that. It has its own identity, and I think that that's what's really great, especially since coming off of the new Super Mario line, it kind of lost its identity over the time. So it's really cool to see that this game has its own identity and it has its own just kind of existence. I absolutely think that that's really cool that it does that. It's something that Mario has done a lot more, especially with games like Wonder, once again having its own identity, but I think it has its own identity while mixing in with Mario proper, right? I think that I can't really describe what makes it different, but it feels like it's a beautiful fusion of the wildness of Mario Galaxy 2 alongside just classic Mario, right? And I think that that works out very well. The music in this game is outstanding. I absolutely love the jazzy Mario soundtrack. It's some of my favorite, and a lot of it gets stuck in my head, especially Double Cherry. Love that song. I just love the presentation of this game. It also looks outstanding. I remember playing this on the Wii U for the first time, and it was really cool to see a Mario game like this. And I think it's just mainly the aesthetic. I love the little sparkling of the water effects when they have it, and I just really like how everything in this game looks, especially with Bowser's Fury. That one also looks outstanding. It's just realistically, presentation-wise, this game is worth it to just check out. And it really just, I think, altogether is an amazing game. It altogether presents itself very, very well. With that being said, none of this matters if you can't get your hands on this game. So let's check out the accessibility. So when it comes down to the pricing of this game, it's a little bit of a weird one because there is such a contrast of a price, but I feel like the decision is really up to you, but it's one of those ones of where it depends on which console you truly have, right? Super Mario 3D World initially came out for the Wii U, and looking for that one, you'll spend about $4 to $5 at maximum. The people charge more for it, but for the Wii U version, that's really what you should be paying. And this game also came out for the Nintendo Switch, with also having Bowser's Fury, and that will set you back about $49 to $50 or even the occasional $60. And it really comes down to which one you have on hand, right? Because, like, part of me would just be like, yeah, go for the Wii U version. But the Wii U was a very unpopular console, and so I don't think a lot of people have access to it. So, of course, the price is really good, but the console itself isn't really easy to get your hands on, especially since you're going to be paying $200 to $300 for this console. So, and I don't even know if that's worth it at the end of the day, because, like, you know, you might already have a Switch. Since the Nintendo Switch is such a popular console, it's easier for me to believe that you have a Nintendo Switch and you haven't given this game a try versus you own a Nintendo Wii U and you haven't given this game a try. Hey, so this is FutureCast here, and I gotta kind of fix this. I said that you'd be paying about $200 to $300 for a Wii U, and I do not know what the hell I was on about. Because, I mean, that's probably because that's, like, the bundled Wii U, you know, the ones in box that you'll pay for that one for. And I'm talking more about, like, the Mario Maker one or the Zelda one that is that price. But in reality, you are only going to pay about $180 to to $200 at the most for this thing, and even then you can find this for way cheaper, and even then those prices come with games like Super Mario 3D World, so I don't know what the hell I was on about. It's probably because I was looking at the bundles, because like the Zelda bundle costs about that much, and even then that's like an exception, right? Because like that's like the only one that I've seen solidly at that price. Like, of course, there's always gonna be somebody trying to sell this for more, but like, God, I'm even more embarrassed the more I talk about this, because I realize that I'm even wrong in my addendum, right? Because even bundles are cheaper than the Zelda one. I think Zelda's the only one that goes for $300. You do not understand how embarrassed I am that I've even said that. I feel so freaking stupid, and all of it could have been an easy search. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know where I saw that price. I don't know what's going on. With that being said, let's move on to the goods and the bads. This is just an amazing 3D Mario experience. I absolutely loved Super Mario 3D Land, so when they made 3D World, of course I'd be majorly excited. And the fact that you're able to play this with multiple people, the fact that this game plays so well, the fact that Bowser's Fury is now integrated, the fact that this game has special zones, the fact that this game just exists is great. It's portable. I love, realistically, this style of gameplay for Mario. I think that it's something that definitely had to happen now, once we understood what 3D Mario was. I probably even have said this in my 3D Land video, but this is a game that I think can only exist within this modern time, right? And I think that that's great, because if Mario started here, I could see where people would have been frustrated and 64 wouldn't have done good. But I think now that we have these kind of games, it's really cool to have this a little bit more challenging argumentatively, and a little more closer to classic 3D Mario. It is so cool to see this happen multiple times, and I think that I absolutely love the way that this game is. I just love the 3D World games, and I would like to see more as time goes on, but I think that this just really nails it on the head on getting that feeling of 3D plus classic, and it makes an amazing experience, especially since you can share this with friends. The soundtrack is outstanding. Really, this game is just awesome. So, with that being said, let's move on to the bads. This game is going to take a little bit of getting used to. Like I said, I'm assuming in the Mario 3D Land video, I don't rewatch my videos, I'm sorry. I feel like I brought up the fact that this game will take a little bit of getting used to, and I feel like that's just in general with this franchise, because you are changing up so much. From going from a health bar in Mario 64 and Sunshine to realistically going into the classic Mario one hit and you're done kind of gameplay. I think that it molds around it very well, and I think that this game altogether works out very well, but I do think that you're going to have to get used to that kind of gameplay style, and once you do, it's great. But I can also see where this might not be somebody's cup of tea. Is that really a bad for me? No, but I feel like that could be one. I feel like it's a valid one if somebody doesn't like this game. It's okay if they don't, but I feel like that might be realistically what stops somebody from checking this game out. With that being said, let's move on to the final thoughts. So, is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury? This is a weird one because they're like so separate, right? Is this game worth playing today? The answer is yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did this video because I'm kind of running out of Mario videos to do. As I've said before, I kind of shot myself in the foot. I have kind of passively talked about this game throughout my 3D Mario games, right? I feel like I've talked about it a lot, and it's finally about time to get that episode done, and that's really what this is, right? I don't know what to say. Yeah, this game's super worth it. I feel like I said before, I've said everything I wanted to in the video itself, alongside the Mario 3D Land video that I don't really remember. But I feel like at the end of the day, yeah, this game's worth it. I think the bigger question is which one is, and I would have to go with Bowser's Fury plus, cause like, you know, this one comes with more stuff, it's portable, and you most likely have a Switch. So with that being said, this isn't going to be the last time I talk about a double console game, because my finale is in the same boat, except I feel like I have more to say. With that being said, thank you so much for indulging me. I only have at least one more video like this before it concludes, but thank you so much for sticking with me on reviewing at least one Mario video a month. I'll talk more about that in the finale itself, but like, hey, thank you so much. With that being said, please check out the rest of the playlist if you enjoy these kind of things, and if not, that's cool too. Please subscribe, do the YouTuber thing. I don't know what to say, I'm rambling. With that being said, I'll see you guys for real this time, next time on Nostalgia Goggles. Bye! Oh my goodness.